Good? Yeah? Okay, before we play a video for Kevin, I want to say a few things about Kevin. I didn't plan this going up here, but Kevin Harrington I met 3 years ago, and it was actually at an event similar to this. And I had an opportunity, and a friend told me, they said, hey, if you can get on a plane and you could be here and be at this event, you have a chance to get about 15 minutes with Kevin. And instantly, I saw the opportunity. I took action. I got on the plane. I went to St. Pete, Florida. Didn't even have any of this planned. I went there, and I had the opportunity to get to know Kevin. Well, that opportunity, that one time with Kevin, led to us going on to do many things. We went on to write a book together. We went on to put on events together. We went on to recently producing a TV show that won Emmy Awards. We made millions of dollars, and we help people. And as a mentor of mine and somebody that literally has changed my life, what he's about to share with you is powerful. Like, I am a walking testimonial for a guy that changed my life. And he understands the power of relationships. He understands the power of the dream team. And when you have a dream team around you, you can achieve anything. Who has mentors in here? Yes. Who has the dream team, the people they can go to? Sunil was talking about you can call them up at 1 a.m. Say, hey, what do I do for this? The success I've had, the success he's helped people with, has come down to the dream team and the people that help you go to the next level. He's going to talk about how Richard Branson had given him some advice that completely changed his life and led him to getting on Shark Tank. So please, this guy, listen, take notes. He's going to share some amazing things with you. He can literally change your life because he's changed mine. I've seen him change hundreds of others. And before he comes on to take the stage, please, can we play the video?
Kevin Harrington. Let's give Kevin a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Take a seat. Wow. At least I think I may have brought the sun from Florida, but not the warm weather, okay? It's a little cold here. But it's my first trip to Ottawa, actually. I've been to Toronto probably 20 times, but I've just never made it over to Ottawa. And I have to say, maybe when the snow melts, I'll get a chance to come back and enjoy the city a little bit. But thanks for having me. Thank you. Yesterday, I shared about 20 minutes worth of how I got started, the early days as an entrepreneur, and my transition into putting products on unused airtime on Discovery Channel and then around the world, and dubbing the shows into foreign languages and all of that. And so I asked yesterday, and I just want to see a show of hands because maybe this is our really core power group now. How many are entrepreneurs in here? Let me see a show of hands. Okay, I think almost everybody. Fantastic. And so we know as entrepreneurs that not every day is going to be a day of roses. There's going to be problems. There are going to be challenges. There's going to be disruptions. And so, as I shared yesterday, one of the disruptions that happened to me, here I was in this world of as seen on TV, and what started happening, magazines, newspapers, and TV, huge declines, right? It's no secret. We've been talking a little bit amongst ourselves here at the breaks and breakfast and lunch and dinners that millennials aren't watching TV as much. I have a 31-year-old, a 21-year-old. My 21-year-old doesn't even have television. He's got internet is all he has. No cable, no TV, never watches television. So I was sitting in my living room recently with myself and my two boys. My 31-year-old was on his computer watching something. I'm watching TV, and my 21-year-old was on his iPhone watching something. Three different things, and we're all 3 feet from each other. So this has caused, for me, a disruption because 50% decline in TV viewership, according to Morgan Stanley. And why? Well, hey, Disney Plus just launched. Disney Plus, it had signed up 10 million customers in the first week. And there's all kinds of other competition coming into this. Again, the decline. Yahoo did a story. 56 million U.S. customers have cut the cord from cable TV. It's going like this. So here I am, Mr. kind of as seen on TV, and this is the worst slide of all. The money that we paid to get on TV stayed the same, whereas the ratings, which is the green line, plummeted. So pay the same for half the viewers. not a good deal for a small entrepreneur, right? And so I remember we did all these celebrity type products, and we had great success with George Foreman, Tony Little, and many of these the Hiltons, the Kardashians. We did Kim Kardashian's first infomercial. All these products took off. There was a point in my career that I realized something was wrong. And we knew that viewership was changing, but we did this project. I want to share this with you, and then I'll tell you what happened afterwards. Watch this.
Now you can put on your favorite music and have fun dancing all those extra inches and pounds away. Presenting the one-of-a-kind, low-impact, calorie-burning, muscle-toning, total body exercise that's fun, fast, and easy. The revolutionary new Twist-A-Sizer from the man who got the whole world twisting, Chubby Checker.
I just want to say, don't do a fitness product with a man named Chubby, okay? That was the first problem, right? But it's with viewership down, with people not watching, with Chubby Checker selling a fitness product, we were starting to have some real problems, okay? We invested in engineering on this product, in the manufacturing, in the molds, inventory, and we lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and projects just weren't happening the way we had hoped. In fact, here I owned As Seen on TV, Inc., AsSeenOnTV.com. We had thousands and thousands of products. We were in over 100,000 stores just in the United States. And of course, here's the logo many of us have seen for years and years and years. We owned AsSeenOnTV.com, but I felt like this was happening to my business on a daily basis. I would see my business, felt like it was burning to the ground. Has anyone had a bad day like that? Yeah, okay. And in fact, yes, this is kind of what it felt like. Coming in, previous to the disruption that we were having, Monday mornings were great mornings because we had big weekend sales. But all of a sudden, and I used to really look forward to a Monday morning. Now, every Monday morning was devastating because we had all the overheads. We had 500 employees, but sales were starting to go down. So we had a public company. We went from 500 million to 400 million to 300 million. And the good news is we weren't losing money yet. So we were profitable at the highest level and we were breaking even. And I said, now I have to do something. I have to do something big and I have to do something quick. So yesterday I shared that I've always believed in having mentors in my life. I was fortunate at a young age, as a teenager. My father was a restaurateur, and he said, Kevin, start in my business. I started in Harrington's Irish Pub, washing dishes and serving meals and bar backing and whatever it took, right? And then as I got older, I had other mentors that came into my business that helped us with different financial kinds of things and operational things. But here, I needed something much bigger, much more powerful. So I actually went on a trek to find the world's most powerful entrepreneurs that I could. And I'm going to show you a slide here that is, for me, was very powerful because I happened to know Tony Robbins. We had done a lot of business together in the old days. We had taken his infomercials. We were the guys that were taking projects international. We were going from the U.S. into Europe, into Latin America, into Asia, dubbing into the local languages. I showed Tony Little in Dutch yesterday. Well, we were taking Tony Robbins, putting him into these languages around the world also. And so I reached out to Tony, and Tony says, Kevin, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. You need to get together with some great mentors, maybe someone like Richard Branson, which I connected with. And that's a very interesting story. I went down to Necker Island, hung with him for a couple of days. I connected with Russell Brunson. This is going back way before ClickFunnels, okay? Because I said, I need some new help. I need some people to come into my business and give me a supercharged way to go about taking the old business of As Seen on TV and transitioning it to a new model. And so after spending time with Tony and with Richard and with Russell, I came out with a new game plan. And I picked up really 4 new things that I needed to do for my business in order not just to survive, because I didn't want to just break even. You can't make money breaking even. You've got to make money. You've got to, as Sunil said, monetize, right? And I love that model, Sunil. Thank you for sharing that with us today. And I'm going to take that and expand on it even just a little bit more here in just a few minutes. But, you know, I think we've talked about this concept of dream team, and people ask me what has been a life changer or a game changer for me. And this is what my guys were saying. Kevin, you're in the TV business. You run, Sunil mentioned, he used to run ads in magazines, newspapers, right? I used to do that too. TV, that's called old media. Newspapers, magazines, television. You need a new dream team that understands the new world. So this is my first step coming out of all these meetings. When I came home from Necker Island, it was an amazing trip to go down there and have one-on-one time with Richard Branson. Richard actually did some research on me before I got there because he wanted me to come out of there with some real solid game plan to be able to turn my business around. And so Richard said, Kevin, you've got all these people in your company that are the old media guys. You know, you probably are paying some of them a lot of money. You know, TV executives that I had hired, you know, some of these guys were making $250, $300, $350. I had a half a dozen of those guys. I had all people from the magazine and the newspaper industry. Richard said, you need to get a new dream team, a new advisory board. Now, what does an advisory board do for you? I sit on about 20 different public companies and advisory boards in exchange for doing monthly and quarterly and various agreements, and sometimes I get a little piece of equity in the process, but I'll share with you what that's all about. But what can a great team of advisors do for you? Well, you might get tech advisors, you might get some celebrities and influencers, you might have some digital marketing people. This is the new dream team, but these are advisors too who can help you make introductions for new executives, recruiting executives, help you raise capital. Let me ask, does anybody here want to raise money for their business? Let me see a show of hands. Okay, great. Generally, it's almost everybody because if you don't need it today, you're probably going to need it down the road because as your business grows, you're going to need capital. Even if you have capital. I mean, I invest, but I also raise money. I mean, I had to do a $20 million raise. I'm not going to write a $20 million check. I wrote the first check for $250,000. And then we raised 19.75. And so this is how this process works. So let's see, I don't know what's happening with our presentation. Is it disconnecting, guys? Huh? Okay, all right, there we go. So Dream Team and Advisory Board, this was an important first step, getting these tech folks. And again, because I wasn't familiar with digital, in the amazing thing that I found, I said, I've got 8 or 10 guys making $300,000 a year. When I started getting tech guys, they were much younger and they were getting a lot less money, okay? So we were able to start transitioning our company over into more of a digital tech company. And we used to own fulfillment centers and phone centers and all these different overhead situations. And now we were able to use targeted kind of pay by shipment, pay by phone call, pay by processing. And so we sold off our fulfillment center, we sold off our customer service center, sold off our media company, trimmed everything down. We had a lot less payroll, a lot less overhead, and also started using the power of influencers. Now, here's a company I'm going to talk about. We used an influencer to get this started. This company was doing a few $1 million a year. And this is going back now 4 years ago. $2 million company, small company, very, very few sales and distributions. And I made a phone call to somebody that I had a great connection to, and I'm going to share with you what happened, but watch this.
Behind the scenes, that stroll a little bit.
Celsius gives you healthy energy and is clinically proven to burn 100 calories or more in every serving.
How many are familiar with Flow Rida? pretty famous rapper down in the United States, 26 million followers. Went down to his office, sat with him face to face, and I showed him the product Celsius. He's a workout guy. You can see he's in great shape. And he says, Kevin, he said, let me try this. If this works, I said, the concept of Celsius is that 1 can of Celsius, you drink it, it burns 140 calories in your body. And it's clinically proven. We can make that statement. And Flo said, man, this is great for people that want to work out, because why do they work out? They want to burn calories. So if they can drink 1 can before they work out, this should be in Golds and GNC and vitamin shops and everywhere in America. And he started, after using it, loving it, we cut a deal with him. He wanted $1 million cash. Well, we didn't have $1 million cash in that company. We did it for almost no money down. It was pennies on the dollar and a couple shares of stock. But we started using, he started doing dozens of videos, going to our trade shows. He became part of the team. And all of a sudden, one day we're at one of the biggest trade shows. All the buyers of energy drinks from Publix, from 7-Eleven, from GNC, from vitamin shops, and we're looking to get distribution. He's in the booth, and we gave private invites out to about 30 key buyers of energy drinks to a private concert at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas. Those 30 people showed up, and the 7-Eleven buyer, he came out of that concert and said, we were deciding today at this event whether we were going to put in Celsius or Monster into our stores. 8,800 stores. We choose Celsius. We got this one, then that one. We're now in 160,000 stores around the world. The company went from 10 cents a share to over $3.65. All right. Thank you. Very, very powerful. And by the way, we have never spent 1 dime on television, okay? So I'm the as seen on TV guy, transitioning out of as seen on TV because, by the way, this is $250 million company now in a couple of years. And it's because we're using new digital techniques, we're using digital influencers. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fitness influencers that are now part of our program. This is our new media. The new media is very powerful. And by the way, because it's so focused, you know, with TV, we had to spend huge money to get on national television, but not everybody was interested in the products. I mean, we could never, first of all, Celsius would be a tough product to put on TV because shipping cans of Celsius is like shipping water. It's very expensive. It's a retail distribution play. So this whole thing led us to create a whole new business, and that business is called Star Shop, where we have hundreds of celebrities, and we've done shows now with Paula Abdul, I'm going to show you in a little bit, and Rihanna and Katy Perry. There's Flo Rida. Unbelievable things that we're now matching celebrities with entrepreneurs that want to take their products and their businesses. And by the way, I mentioned products, yes, but people say, oh, but you're a product guy, Kevin. Well, yes, but I'm in the beverage business, and I'm in the real estate business, and I'm in the chiropractic business. I'm in a lot of service businesses also, and we can share some of that as we go. So make a long story short, step one, coming out of this transition for me after meeting with some amazing mentors, and I can just honestly say that mentors, for me, I wouldn't be standing here if we hadn't done the change that we had to. And disruption is part of life. It's part of being an entrepreneur, okay? As I was going through, I said, okay, so I got that one concept down. I now know what I need to do on getting this new Dream Team Advisory Board. Step 2 was then also creating a new business plan, because it's no longer buying time on TV. It's using influencers, and how do we get these influencers, and how do we pay these influencers, and how do we raise some more money? Because Celsius, we didn't get into 100,000+ stores without having a lot of capital, all right? Well, we raised money. We raised $16 million on the first tranche. We raised another $30 million. And just recently, just 2 weeks ago, we raised $25 million more. You can check it out. It's a public company. It's NASDAQ. It's an unbelievable asset that I created only because I came out of this amazing event of having these powerful mentors change my life. So real fast, I don't want to get into too much education here today, but if you do, how many have a business plan right now? Let me see a show of hands, all right? Okay, not as many as I'd hoped for, but that's okay, because this will give you some thoughts. Maybe take a picture if you want. I could spend an hour and a half on this. There's about 9 or 10 steps to creating a great business plan. One of the key things, you got to have sales and marketing plan. Very important. If you've seen Dragon's Den here in Canada, Shark Tank in the US, people come out, hey, I need $1 million for 10% of my company. And, oh, what are your sales? Well, we're just getting started. Okay, what are you going to do with the money? Oh, we're not totally sure, right? Well, there's so many deals that just don't make sense on Shark Tank. But one of the main things that I want to know about is what is your sales and marketing plan going to be for customer acquisition? And that is important. So this is the one slide on creating the plan. Next slide is when you're raising capital. This is very important, and I've raised probably now about $300 million for my own companies over the last 15 years. One of the things that I say is you have to understand how to talk to investors. It's different for every single investor that you sit and talk to. And the reason I'm sharing a lot of this with you is because these are the things so many entrepreneurs don't realize. They just, I got a business plan. Let me send you my plan. But let me give you an example. Most people think an investor wants what? No, when we're raising money, we want the money. What does the investor usually want? The profits, guarantees, right? Investors usually say, hey, is it profitable? Well, healthy profit margins. This is just one kind of investor. And let me explain. You think, wait a minute, doesn't every investor want to see healthy profit? No. When Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm very close with Mark's sister, Randy Zuckerberg. We've been all over the world together. We're in Brazil at an event together and done our podcasts. And Randy shared with me the story about Facebook and how Mark, her brother, and she was in there in the very beginning. She said, we had no money. We were raising capital. We had 1 million users of Facebook. And we were meeting with a big investor named Peter Thiel. And Peter could write a check for $100 million if need be, but we were pitching him for $5 million investment. And so when they sat down with Peter, they didn't say, we have any profits. There's not only no profits, there was no sales, right? How do you pitch an investor to give you $5 million if you have no sales and no profits? Well, how do you pitch them? This was an investor that wanted this, exponential growth. So what Mark said is, Peter, I'm not here to tell you about profits. I'm not here to tell you about sales. I'm here to tell you that with your $5 million, we're going to go from 1 million users to 5 million, maybe even 10 million users. And Peter Thiel said, if you can get to 10 million users, I'll give you the 5 million. I want 10% of your company. They did that deal. And what is 10% of Facebook worth, do you think, today? A lot of money. Hundreds of billions. It's unbelievable. So, make a long story short, you have to know how to talk to investors. And, this is what I like to share with people. I put money into deals, but I raise money for a lot of deals. There's so many deals that require a lot more money than individual investors are prepared to make. Peter Thiel, he had billions. He was already a billionaire. So he could easily spend $5 million on something. My sweet spot in investing is between $250,000, $500,000 or under, but I don't write checks for $5 million. So understand that there's different kinds of investors that you need to discuss. And just real quick, there was one, I mentioned that $20 million raise. I put $250,000 in first. We went and met with 90 plus investors one-on-one. We went to their offices, their homes, they came to our office. This was in the New York area, so New York, New Jersey, into Connecticut. And after every single meeting that we had, we would sit and talk. And I spent 15 to 20 minutes talking to the investor before we even started the pitch, because I wanted to know what is what turns you on as an investor? What's your sweet spot, right? Now, I don't come right out and say what's your sweet spot, but what have you invested in? What's been good for you? What don't you like, et cetera. Now they've pretty much told me how I need to sell them on the investment. So this is part of the strategy, and we as we got momentum with this $20 million raise, the first $250,000 from me, and now I'm out asking for the rest of the money. One guy wrote a check for $1 million, another for $500,000, and a whole bunch at $25,000. But eventually, 90-some people invested over $20 million in this raise. It took 3 weeks. So this is part of the process and raising capital. One other part of raising capital that I love, and I was just talking about it earlier with Tracy, is crowdfunding. And in the United States, there's a huge crowdfunding, the Jobs Act that passed. And I don't know a lot about crowdfunding in Canada, but I do know if you want to come to the US, you can do equity crowdfunding. I'm not talking Kickstarter. Kickstarter, you put money up and you get your advance. You're buying something in advance, a product. There's no equity in Kickstarter. But equity crowdfunding is something that's so powerful. Right now, I'm investing every single week in one crowdfunding project. Generally around 20 grand a week I'm putting into deals because I like to invest in pre-IPO. And if you invested like $1,000 in Uber before it's now public, that's worth about $88,000 now, so, an 88x times your multiple on your investment. So what I do with crowdfunding is I go in an equity fashion, put money in, and I get equity pre-IPO, and then I help take these companies to the next level. So we call it it's called Reg A Plus. You can raise 20 to 50 million. You can raise 1 to 5 million. There's all different ways to go, but you actually are allowed to sell equity, and people can invest as little as $50. So you get it out there. It all starts with producing a very powerful video. And we're going to talk about videos a lot more here as we go today. So this is step 2, raising capital, creating a great business plan. Step number 3, this was very evident from my conversations with Russell Brunson. Russell said, Kevin, you're doing all this as seen on TV stuff. It's going to change. You already know it's changing. You need to embrace digital. And so that's step number 3, because when you're on fire, you need to rewire. And this is the one slide that'll show you all the details of the world over the last number of years. It took radio 38 years to get to an audience of 50 million listeners. TV got to 50 million viewers in 13 years. The internet got to 50 million users in 4 years. The iPod 3, Facebook 2, but the Pokemon Go app got to 50 million downloads in 15 days, right? Now, here's the mind blower. Ed Sheeran, 375 million downloads in 1 week.
Singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead.
So, is the world moving a little faster today than when we were all kids, right? Absolutely. And so, I have no idea. I mean, I've listened to Ed Sheeran myself, but 375 million downloads in 1 week. It's mind-blowing. What the opportunity is, though, this is what I'm talking about here, is the opportunity, because the old way for me, we did very well in the as seen in TV business. We built public companies. We monetized it. We had great shareholder value. But then when it hit a point where we're at a wall and it's starting to go the other way, we turned this way, and now we've embraced digital. Not everybody did, though. There's a company called Time Inc. that had 37 magazines, from Time to Entertainment to People Magazine to Golf Magazine, Money Magazine, 37 properties, and their sales were plummeting. And I was at an event. I do an annual event with Steve Forbes from Forbes magazine, and Steve and I were hanging out. And I said to Steve, this is in Las Vegas, just about 3 or 4 months ago. And every year we do something called Pitch Tank. We take pitches in front of 2,000 people. And so I said to Steve, Steve, you're in the magazine business. You're familiar with Time's problems? He said, oh, Time just sold out. They sold all their assets to Meredith Publishing. And what is Meredith doing? Liquidating all of Time. They just sold Sports Illustrated to Jamie Salter over in New York for $115 million. They're blowing out all the assets of Time because they didn't embrace digital, right? I mean, here's one of the biggest magazine companies in the world. And so Steve, I said, Steve, can you share with me your chart? And he said, absolutely. He said, it's the exact opposite. We've gone from a couple million monthly readers to over 52 million a month. I said, how did you do that? He said, we embraced digital, and we did it by getting 1,500 freelance contributors to give us a weekly article, and under one condition. We put it on Forbes.com on one condition. They send it out to all of their followers, all right? So what is he doing? He's getting exponential growth by connecting with the contributors' followers, giving him his highest readership in 98 years, 70% of all revenues now coming from digital. So I don't think I have to beat this too hard. We all know digital works, but it's how you do it, and it's the creation of videos is where it all starts. And I feel very lucky because I started shooting videos 35 years ago with Arnold Morris selling the Ginsu knife, and Tony Little and Jack LaLanne and George Foreman. These were 30-minute videos. Now we're doing 30-second, 45-second, 10-second, 20, whatever it happens to be. But the world of embracing digital has become very, very powerful. And so this was step number 3, and I followed each one of these steps. I got my new dream team. Yes, I put a new business plan together. We raised some more capital. We now started embracing digital. We got digital people doing all the things, all the testing of the new products we're launching. And then Richard Branson said to me, Russell was great. He said, Kevin, get that digital going. Richard said, Kevin, he said, you've done some pretty cool things. This Tony Little guy, how did that all come about? I said, I met Tony Little in the gym in St. Pete. And he said, what'd you tell him? I said, I said, hey, I do infomercials. You got any products? And I put them on TV. I created a $3 billion brand with Tony Little. I mean, the guy's in, how many have seen the National Car Rental commercial where he's going with the Gazelle, a product that we did 10, 12 years ago, did $1 billion in sales. Well, Tony Little became a brand all himself, but Richard said to me, so you created Tony Little's brand. You created Billy Mays' brand. You did Jack LaLanne, you have all George Foreman, all these people you crushed, putting them on TV every day, thousands and thousands of times. But who did you forget? Me, okay? You didn't build your own brand, right? And so it hit me square in the face. I'm like, Richard, you're exactly right. I said, I didn't think I needed to build my brand because I was making enough money, it didn't matter. But guess what? Sales dry up, money dries up, and who's off with the brand? Well, the guys that I created the brands for did very, very well. So now I said, I need to do what? Build my brand. So this was the next step, and it was, how do I become a key person of influence by raising my profile and building my brand? And so this is why I loved how Sunil started today, monetization, right? And he started talking about a funnel and what are the things that you need to do. And Sunil and I are right in sync with each other. This is one of my books. It's called How to Become a Key Person of Influence. Do we have a book for everybody here today? I think so, right? We'll show that later, but there's 5 amazing steps. What's that? Go back one slide. That one? Okay. So become a key person of influence by raising your profile, build your brand. There's 5 steps. I'm not going to get into all this. I have limited time here today, but the bottom line is it starts by one of the major steps here, if you look at number 2, publish, right? So this was one of my books, but I started coming out with books. My first book, Act Now, How I Turn Ideas into $1 Million Products. And I took, and then I started, this is a digital magazine, much like Forbes was. So the beauty of what Forbes magazine did, as a magazine, you got to pay all these people to write the articles. You got to pay a lot of money to print the magazine. Then you have to pay to get it distributed onto the newsstand shelves or to mail to people's homes. With a digital magazine, you get people to give you the articles for free because they get profiled in your distribution. So my magazine's called Sharkpreneur. I get free content. there's no printing because it's delivered over the internet, and there's no distribution cost either. So it's absolutely free across the board. And so, make a long story short, this between creating books, creating digital magazines, building the brand, this is what we started doing. I don't know why that's there. Here we go. Creating content. So I started using, now I had books, I had old media. And we don't need to spend a lot of time on this because this is the exercise that Sunil was doing earlier. But how do you start generating action, right? You go on radio. I started with one radio station, and I said to the station, hey, look, I can come on and do a little radio segment, never had to leave my house, and I was doing 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever they would allow, and I said, I'll do this on one condition. At the end of my segment, I want to be able to send people to a website to get a free chapter of my book. And I said, is that okay? They said, oh, so you're not selling anything, you're giving it away? Great value to our listeners? I said, absolutely. Fine, no problem. I got on one radio show, 5 radio shows, 25 radio shows, 50, 100, 125. And what was I doing? I was generating hundreds of thousands of leads going to a funnel, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. And so these are all the ways that you could create this content, speaking at chambers and getting articles into trade journals and going to trade shows. I still do 20 plus trade shows a year. And doing live podcasts. I do 2 of my own podcasts every single week. It's called Sharkpreneur. And maybe there's some people in here that want to be on my podcast. And also, does anybody here have their own podcast? 1, 2, yeah, okay, 8 or 10. We're going to pick one, Sunil, today, and I'm going to be on at least one of the group here. Let's pull some names out of a hat for that, okay? All right? Because I believe, and when I interview people, and if I'm on your podcast, I'm going to send it to my social, hundreds of thousands of my followers, okay? And by the way, has anyone heard the name Ed Milet? Does that name ring a bell? Okay, a few of you do. I was on his podcast. We got 6 million downloads on just that one day, okay? Thank you. And so, and by the way, Shark Tank as a TV show doesn't get 6 million viewers, but I had 6 million viewers sitting in Ed Milet's living room, and for zero cost other than the gas money to drive over to his house. So I called this Interviewing the Expert, and there's a girl in the United States that used to read the news, and she decided one day, I don't want to be a newsreader, I want to interview celebrities and experts, and now she's a billionaire. Anyone know who I'm talking about? Oprah Winfrey. All right, so that was her business model, was interviewing experts, because the people and celebrities, the people that are following the experts and the celebrities are now going to start following her. And the last part of this is creating amazing partnerships. So Sunil has talked about books. One of my mentors in my life was an amazing guy named Zig Ziglar. How many have heard the name Zig Ziglar before, right? Okay, Zig is one of the most amazing guys in the world. 35 books, over 30 languages. He's got thousands of hours of audio, video, etc. Zig passed away 7 years ago, and I was sitting with the family, and I said, Zig was such a mentor to me. I would love to see how I can help bring value now to the Ziglar family, now that he's passed. And they said, it's crazy. Zig never did any social media, because 7 years ago, when he was passing, social media, Facebook and Instagram were barely there. And so Zig never in his life had a Facebook page. But when he passed away, the family said, let's put a Facebook page up for Zig so people can leave a tribute to Zig. Guess how many people are on that Facebook page? 4.8 million, okay? All right? And so here I am talking to the family. I said, why don't we start bringing out the redos of the books and the products and all the things. So this is what I'm doing, creating amazing partnerships. How do you leverage yourself with other famous people? Well, I did it with Zig Ziglar by saying, here's a new book called it's the old book, Secrets of Closing the Sale, revised and updated with Kevin Harrington. And there I am on the jacket, and we're now in retail stores crushing it, but we're also giving this to the 4.8 million people on Facebook Live. So if we did a Facebook Live that had 500,000 people that were actually following us during our little segment with Tom Ziegler, myself, and Mark Tim. So this is all about creating amazing partnerships, creating amazing relationships, leveraging yourself with other people's brands. And I know Sunil loves to talk about that. He'll probably be talking about that quite a bit more. I'm running short of time, but this is my version of what Sunil did earlier. This is creating a digital funnel. It's a 5-step process. The lead magnet was me going on radio, giving away a free chapter. So that's creating the lead. What do? It sends them to a funnel that there's a tripwire where they trip into the funnel because, yes, they opt in to get the free chapter of the book. And now I have the opportunity to have a core offer and some kind of a product eventually that will sell. But the first step is giving them a lot of warm and fuzzy content and giving them some great stuff. But then there's all these emails written in advance, dozens of emails, email automation, and retargeting. So this is the 5 steps to building a funnel as Sunil described earlier. So it all starts with video because the power of video, I've been doing it for 35 years. Now I'm one of the most successful people putting videos out on the internet. And I'll share with you a couple of products we've been doing this with. But in the last 30 days, there's been more video content uploaded than in the last 30 years of television. It's unbelievable the quantity of things, the speed at which things are happening. In fact, including a video on your landing page can increase your conversion by 80%. But you got to have a great video, right? So it's, the reason this is so important is the as seen on TV world, we did one commercial. It would just run over and over and over and over to the mass market. There was no way for us to capture any information other than the people that called and when they ordered, we had their name. But there are micro moments on the internet where, let's say, if someone's buying a car, which is best? Is it right for me? Can I afford it moment? Where should I buy it moment? Am I getting a deal moment? This is how you're connecting with people on the internet, is connecting with them in these micro moments across the board. So we've developed systems to be able to create funnels for each one of these situations. And it's no doubt that mobile is the wave of the future. And when I talk about mobile, there's 300 million plus cell phones just in the United States. Everything is moving here. I mentioned I'm sitting in my living room. I'm watching TV. My oldest son's on his computer. My youngest son is right here. This is where it's all going. Even older folks like ourselves are doing more mobile. 50% of all the traffic on the internet is video over mobile. So, I get so upset when I go to a website on my mobile phone and it doesn't come across well. Why? It's not mobilely optimized. How can you be in business if you don't do these things? So these are all part of the things that we want to help you guys with, and we're going to have, Brandon's going to be discussing some of these opportunities because my new business model is creating micro brands. And with micro brands, you create precision digital marketing, using influencers, building funnels, using affiliate marketers also. And, just to give you an example, I'll share just rapid fire a couple products that I've been involved with over the last 18 months. Here's a product that actually went on Shark Tank. It's a nightlight for your toilet. Okay? Now, how many have said, we put O'Leary's face in the toilet, by the way. We just love knocking O'Leary. So, he's a buddy of mine, so I'm allowed to do that. But it's called Global, and so it was not an as seen on TV product because it wasn't mass market. We actually tried to put it on TV, it bombed. But when we started targeting seniors who get up in the middle of the night, I was telling Brandon earlier, I got up twice last night to go to the bathroom, okay? And, and so seniors are one, but then there's mothers who have kids that wet the bed. Why do they wet the bed? They get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, and it's so dark they're afraid, they get back in bed and wet the bed. So we created dozens of digital funnels to go after these customers, and we built a huge, this has done millions and millions of products all over the world. Retail, we're now on Walmart and Target and on a global basis in about 30 countries. Here's another product that we created. It's called Thin Optics. It goes on the back of your phone just like this, and it's a pair of glasses that fit right there. We took Paula Abdul, a celebrity influencer, just real quick.
I'm here at Junior's Times Square.
New York.
What I'm about to
Junior's
show you
cheesesteaks.
is going to make your eyes feel
Cheesecake.
like they're on vacation. It's called Thin Optics reading glasses. It's one of the most frustrating things that happens, reading a menu. How many times are you like this? Hi. Do you happen to use...
So that's Thin Optics. Here's another product that I've discussed a few times. It's called Peeps. It's an eyeglass cleaner. Here's a guy from the Grommet. We've sold millions of these products.
Peeps is a peppy name for a pretty high-tech gadget. It uses an invisible carbon substance to repel dirt and oil. After you've removed dust from the lens with the natural bristle brush, the carbon pads wipe off oils in all the nooks and crannies. The shape of the pads is fit to reach difficult corners. Stick the pincers back in to recharge when you're done.
Again, these aren't hard sell videos. These are authentic user style videos. Here's a guy that runs the Grommet saying, look at this. This is how it works. And I love this, you know. It's a different world out there. Our video style, it's not beat them on the head and try to close the sale so hard sell. It's a much more authentic user style kind of process that we use. And just one more, here's a product called the Magic Saw.
With the Magic Saw. This is an item that is
this is
unbelievably
QVC
popular,
talking
and
right now.
Every time we've had it on QVC, it has raced out the door. What we want to talk to you about is the multi-purpose 6-blade cutting toolkit with the storage case. Already very popular, just from mentioning this earlier in the show. Lots and lots of you now are going to be excited to see what this will do. 500 of these are already gone. Let's quickly show you. You're seeing on the videotape, but now let's show you live in our studio. Mr. Kim is showing you with that flexible blade, you can do any kind of shape or size cut. It's quick, it's clean, it's even, and it's oh so easy. Welcoming now Tom Choi, who is here along with Mr. Kim to tell us more.
This product, I created these videos that sold QVC. We're selling 100,000 pieces a month, and they just placed an order for 175,000 for a TSV month, so we're actually going to be crushing it even more than 100,000 pieces a month. And it all started, I can't communicate to the buyer at QVC without shooting some crazy little short videos. So again, we're going to keep talking about videos today, some more. Brandon's going to come up because this was another micro brand that became $1 billion brand. I don't know if people know it, but Dollar Shave Club. This guy is the founder, Michael Dubin. He spent I think less than 10 grand or so on a video, and it went viral. He got 10,000 customers. He got 50,000 customers. He sold to Unilever for $1 billion, right? So the opportunities are out there. Let's give him a round of applause, okay? Again, the opportunities are there today because it's not the old way. This is, by the way, Rupert Murdoch, founder of Fox. Do you know that he had to sell Fox? You know, his kids were coming up. He's like, oh, who did he sell it to? Disney. He sold to Disney because he was getting old. He's like, I don't know if we're going to be able to survive. So that's why he's not smiling here. I used to give him $5 million every year to run my infomercials. Today, he gets zero. And this is why he's like, look, we've got to do something. Disney is launching streaming because they've got a lot of movies and they're going to have they need a lot of content for their streaming. So now's the time to sell to Disney. We're going to get the most money we're going to get because it's just going to be a depleting asset over the next number of years. That's the old way. The new way is, new culture is millions of channels broadcasting to a few. So not the old way, which is a few channels broadcasting to millions, which is what I did for 35 years. The new way is millions of channels broadcasting to a few. I just heard about, I've heard of TikTok, but a lot of people are using 3-second videos, or is it 6-second or 3-second? Something short, right? It's just crazy. But anyway, I'm excited to be able to stand up here and talk about the fact that I had disruption. I dealt with it. I brought the best mentors into my life, and came out of it. We're much more profitable today because I run all my businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, with less than 25 employees. We have a studio, and we focus on the video side, because when you get good videos, this is the beginning of a great situation. So I have my last slide, and I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. My buddy Tony Little, I said, hey, I'm going to be up in Ottawa talking to some great people, and some people are excited and ready to go. They know what they need to do for their next step. Others are maybe on the fence. They don't know what they need to do for the next step. So do you have any words of encouragement for my folks in Ottawa? And Tony says, yes. Let me give them 4 words that they can listen to. Here you go.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure to be here. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Brandon.
Round of applause.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, round of applause.
All right.
Oh.
Thank you. All right.